Welcome to the Enabled by Optics Roundtable discussion with Trojan Technologies, the winner of the Optical Society's first annual Enabled by Optics contest. I'm Tom Hoskin, Senior Engineering and Applications Advisor at OSA, and I'm here pleased to be here at Trojan Technologies headquarters in London, Ontario, in Canada. I'm here with Marv DeVries, Trojan Technologies President, Ted Mao, Trojan Technologies Vice President of Research, Gord Knight, Trojan Technologies Manager of Research, and John Fitzgerald, City of London, Ontario, Canada, retired Division Manager for Wastewater Operations. Our discussion today will focus on a series of questions about Trojan Technologies, their award-winning advanced UV water treatment technology, and the impact that technology has on society. We'll also hear directly from one of their customers so we can have a better understanding of the broader applications of using UV light for water disinfection and beyond. So let's get started. First off, congratulations on being named the inaugural winner of OSA's Enabled by Optics contest. Marv, can you give us a brief overview of how your UV water treatment systems work and what impact the technology has on public health and the environment?
Sure, Tom. Thanks for being here, by the way. We have, over the years, developed a whole generation of technologies that take advantage of a certain property of UV light, which is that at certain wavelengths, the UV light energy is very effective at destroying certain types of microorganisms. And so by taking advantage of that property, we've developed a whole family of products that are used to treat water. And water, as everyone knows, is essential to life. And so treating water to destroy bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms is essential to protect public health. And so the technologies that we've developed and applied over the years are now used by people in their homes. They're used by industries to produce very pure water for a variety of purposes. And they're used by municipalities to treat drinking water or to treat sewage, which can be discharged back into the natural environment, or can be reused for beneficial purposes to irrigate golf courses and other things. So the products that we've developed and taken to market are now used in thousands of communities around the world in over 100 countries. And we treat literally billions of gallons of water every day. New York City, for example, uses our equipment to protect its water supply.
How does optics and photonics play a role in the technology more specifically? Would the systems be possible without advanced optical technologies?
That's a very good question. Since we are protecting public health, it's critical to make sure it's both efficient and reliable. And that's a really important aspect. So what we do is we draw on three very important disciplines within optics and photonics in order to achieve this. The first one is accurate light measurement. That's the science of radiometry. That determines how reliably our systems are operating. The next one is efficiency, and we use computer simulations of the interaction between light and fluid flow in order to make sure that we have the best systems available. The third one is a very basic understanding of how light interacts with the organisms that we're trying to treat, and that is called the field of biophotonics. So all of this related work is very important to make sure that we have the best systems.
How is the technology unique? How do you differentiate it from other similar technologies? What other similar technologies would there be in this category?
Commonly used technologies such as chlorination, ozonation, or filtration, those are commonly used. For ultraviolet, the unique characteristics include Because it's more like a physical phenomena. The photon hits the water and target the microorganisms and inactivate them. So it's a very rapid process. The reaction and the contact takes place in a matter of seconds, versus the chemical type of treatment takes minutes up to hour or even multiple hours to take the effect. So with that short contact time, it leads to very compact system, small footprint, and almost on-demand system. When you need it, you can turn it on, you can turn it up and down depending on the water quality and so on. The other big unique feature is a chemical-free solution. So it does not involve addition of any chemicals, and it does not produce the adverse side effect, what we call the byproducts issues at the disinfection dosages. So overall, it's a more eco-friendly system.
The major breakthrough was in applying UV disinfection to wastewater. The use of chlorine was nearly universal in wastewater treatment plants for decades, and it worked very well in terms of protecting the environment from microorganisms. But there are complications associated with that, in that because it's a chemical, it interacts with other organic compounds and produces things that you don't want. And so then you have to deal with that problem. And before you discharge wastewater that's treated with chlorine to the environment, you have to take the chlorine out again, and that creates another complication. So when we introduced UV with a technology that made it practical to use it in a wastewater treatment plant, it was a bit of a revolution, because you could get away from using chlorine altogether in wastewater treatment plants. The use of our technology has displaced the use of hundreds of railroad cars of chlorine per day.
Really?
Yeah.
Per
so
day?
That's not going into the environment.
What prompted the scientists at Trojan to develop this then? What got the company going on this technology?
Well, I'm sure there were multiple things, but I would say that there was an early vision that there needed to be a better way to accomplish those twin objectives of protecting public health and at the same time doing a good job of protecting the environment. As I said earlier, chlorine is effective in killing microorganisms, but it creates a lot of complications beyond that. And so I think the vision and the belief and the conviction was that you could take this idea patented 100 years ago and transform it into something that towns and cities would look at and say, you know, that's easier to work with, it's safer to work with, it's cost effective, and the people that work at our treatment plants would have no difficulty working with that equipment.
When it was first launched, did the technology make a transformative change for the end user, or was it an incremental change by taking something that was already there?
In wastewater, it was transformational, because we were, for the first time, introducing a way to treat water, to disinfect wastewater without using a chemical, and that had not been done before. Now, the word transformational sounds like something happened overnight.
Yeah.
It took a long time, but the concept was transformational.
Yes.
The business growth has been impressive. Can you talk about the recent growth and what really contributed to the growth of the UV business?
Well, many things. I think, first of all, you have to have a product that, as Gord said, is reliable and efficient, and is able to do a better job, all things considered, than what it is displacing. If you don't have that, the best salesperson in the world is going to struggle.
Yeah.
But we had that, and then I think there were important things that happened along the way, and you'll meet John a little bit later on a partner with the City of London, where we were able to demonstrate some of these innovations early on. And when you're selling to municipalities, it is you're selling into a conservative market. The tried and true is what they like to go with. And so finding someone who's willing to try a new innovation and try it at full scale is absolutely crucial. And we've been very privileged to work with the city where we happen to live and work. In that regard, many of our innovations have been tried here in London before they were introduced more broadly to the market.
And what about some of the concerns about the byproducts and maybe regulatory issues and that? Is there increased attention now that makes UV an easier sell, or has that always been the case?
You know, as I reflect back 15 or 20 years when UV was starting to become well known and recognized as an environmentally friendly alternative to the use of chlorine, the acceptance of UV actually led in many countries to the adoption of more stringent standards to protect the environment. It's tough to do that if you don't have a practical technology that enables you to do that. But once that enabling technology was demonstrated to be robust, regulations started to come into place in Canada, in the US, which led in many respects, and indeed in countries around the world.
Okay, interesting. Where do you see the most growth geographically now in your market?
Well, as I think about that, in the last decade, we've had a very strong focus on China. The Chinese government, I think, recognizes that water is crucial to the health of the economy, and so they put in place some very aggressive goals to improve the quality of water by building wastewater treatment plants and the infrastructure to bring sewage to those treatment plants. In that 10-year period, we have supplied over 400 cities in China with our UV disinfection systems, and we estimate that those 400 systems treat the wastewater for cities in aggregate with a population of over 250 million people.
Really?
Yeah, so that's like 20% of the population of China.
So I had heard earlier that water, pure water, is the largest public health issue in the world, or how did that go? Can you say something about that?
It is. I think it is absolutely crucial to the health and well-being of society, and we still have a long ways to go as a global community. I mean, the tragedy is that even today, something like 6,000 people, mostly children, die every day from waterborne disease. If you don't treat water, pretty soon all of the things that we take for granted in society would become very different in terms of our priorities. We've calculated that our products have beneficially impacted the lives of more than 1 billion people globally.
Beyond the wastewater treatment and municipalities, are there new applications of the technology that you're looking at that we can look forward to?
Let's ask the research team.
In fact, UV applications go much beyond just treating municipal, either wastewater or drinking water. It's used quite widely. In one of the segments, for example, industrial, it's used for treating juice, food and beverage fluids. It's used for treating pharmaceutical processed water. Not necessarily just disinfection. For example, it's used for removal of some of the residue in the pharmaceutical processed water. And semiconductors, the large LED TVs or cell phones, making those glasses or fabricating chips. Ultra pure water, UV is used as the part of the entire treatment train, typically for reducing the residual organic carbons. So it's used quite widely. Through optics research and R&D activities, we continue exploring new applications. So we actually are quite comfortable in treating so-called opaque fluids. So something does not appear to transmit light. For example, milk, juice, or wine, and that creates a lot of opportunities, excitement for us too. But I would say on the near horizon, and probably the largest opportunity or potential opportunity as we see, and we have invested significantly in the area, is to use ultraviolet combining with other technologies to control invasive species in the marine and aquatic environment. The drivers are International Maritime Organization Ballast Water Convention, yet to be rectified, but we expect that's going to happen in the near future. In the USA, there is a rule which was promulgated last year, took into effect at the end of this year, start to require compliance. So the ballast water is the water you bring on a ship to keep the ship in balance when you put cargo onto the ship or offload cargo. Mm-hmm. And it's a significant issue in terms of bringing invasive species from one ecozone to another. So there's awareness of that, the environmental issues, and there's a real economic impact due to the invasive species issues. For example, the Great Lakes have the zebra mussel concerns issues over the last 10 years. Then such regulation either been put in place or going to be put in place on a global scale. And the challenges associated with that, treating water, and sometimes could be as large in terms of volume and flow rate as a small municipality, and with very limited footprint on ship, with a small crew, and having a reliable system on the ship. So lots of challenges. However, that creates a lot of opportunity for companies like us, and the UV technology, again, in combination with other technologies together, and we have a very compelling offering into that market. And to speak to the research portion, as we discussed, for the municipalities, it's more about using ultraviolet to control and inactivate microorganisms. However, in the marine or aquatic environment, you could have some larger organisms and more complex organisms. So through research efforts, we have discovered, in fact, UV can be quite effective on those organisms. For example, we call phytoplanktons, so really the algae organisms, and the mechanism in rendering effect is a little bit different from microorganisms. In addition to DNA damages, it could have impact on the whole organisms. So it's a fascinating field, it's a challenging, but it's a huge opportunity.
So John, you're with the Municipal wastewater treatment. Can you tell us a little bit about the needs that that group had and why you turned to Trojan Technologies?
Every municipality is required to meet certain effluent criteria by a regulatory body. One of those things is discharge of pathogens that would be in the wastewater, for an example. Traditionally, we always use chlorine or sodium hypochlorite or some product like that to destroy the organisms. We tried UV because, you know, some of us believed that it would work in a first plant several years ago, And we found that it did work, and we got excellent kills, far below the regulatory level that we need to reach. Right from the start, we realized that that was a way to go. And with having several wastewater plants, we did a cost-benefit analysis, for doing new installations as we upgraded each plant to see which technology actually made sense from a full cost accounting situation. We determined that UV technology was the way to go for several reasons based on capital and operating costs.
Were there any surprises that came along the way that benefits or something that you hadn't anticipated?
As far as operating UV systems, we found that they always seem to meet their numbers very well and surpass, in other words, better than they needed to be. And we tended not to use as much power as when we did our analysis for the cost, because the water in our plants was so much cleaner than what they modeled it for doing their
design
for the salesman, if you will, because the salesman wants to say something, but he doesn't want to guarantee too much. But our effluent criteria was and quality was such of high quality that we had better penetration of the UV, and we got better kills at lower power levels. So therefore, we're using less energy. So actually, our operating costs were lower than we expected. So
Okay.
that was a definite added benefit.
What's next for Trojan Technologies from a business perspective and technology innovation? What can we look forward to seeing?
We listen very closely to people who use our equipment, who tell us, we like this, but here's an opportunity for you to keep on innovating. And one of the things that we have been working on actually for about 7 or 8 years is the next generation of technology, and we've been testing it offline here in the City of London. But this is a product that uses about 1/3 of the energy of the products that many municipalities are using in our earlier generation products. And it's small footprint, and it's low head loss, and so it's the best technology yet. What we are seeing is that some of the largest cities in the world, places like Chicago and others, are now looking at this technology and saying, well, this particular combination of features really does make UV attractive for very, very large treatment plants. And so we see that as a growth opportunity. Ted spoke about ballast water treatment. That really is a very significant opportunity. And we're launching a product now after several years of research work there. And then we do see opportunities to combine UV with other technology that work very well in combination. They're very compact, they're very energy efficient. And those combinations of technologies will work very well for countries where sewage treatment plants still have to be built, oftentimes in big cities where there's just no land available to do that. So a very compact, low energy combination of technologies that use UV but also other things is a big part of our future.
Well, I want to thank you all for explaining the technology, for giving us another example how optics is used in our everyday lives. And I want to congratulate you once again on winning the first annual Optical Society Enabled by Optics contest. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.